All right, thank you for joining us tonight. If you are watching a recording of this program at a later time, thank you for watching this video as well. The purpose of this program is to introduce you to fraternity membership, what it means, why you should consider joining, why is it one of the most valuable collegiate experiences that you can have. My name is Joe Thompson, and I serve as the Fraternity and Sorority Advisor here at Stockton University. I'm a proud member of Phi Mu Delta Fraternity, and I'm happy to lead this program tonight with you. So as we start this program, I want to share a little bit about who we are, and we're talking about the IFC fraternity community on campus. Getting started, I want to share some statistics and information regarding Stockton's Interfraternity Council chapters. The IFC is one of 5 councils on campus with a total of 30 chapters currently in the entire community, close to 700 total members. The IFC is encompassed of 9 chapters, with 1 joining us later this year. Currently, the IFC has 256 members between our 9 chapters, boasting a 3.12 cumulative GPA. $40,000 is raised annually for philanthropy, various organizations and charities. The graduation rate is 10% higher than non-affiliated men on campus. And the first fraternity joined Stockton in 1980, which is over 42 years ago, with our Alpha Chi Rho fraternity chapter, who is still here today. Nationally, a little bit about fraternities. There are over 123 fraternities and sororities with 9+ million members in the United States. There are 750,000 undergrads in 12,000 chapters on more than 800 college campuses in the US and Canada. Of the nation's 50 largest corporations, 43 are led by fraternity men. 85% of Fortune 500 executives belong to a fraternity. And 76% of congressmen and senators are fraternity men. Nationally, there are many statistics that I could share with you regarding fraternity and sorority membership, but I just wanted to share a few interesting ones that I thought were rather impressive. So why fraternity? What is our purpose? Why do fraternities exist? Why should I pay membership costs to be in one? At a time when college students and campuses struggle to cope with the impact from the coronavirus pandemic, a prominent higher education researcher finds fraternity members benefit from significantly more engagement than non-members. The study also shows greater gains in learning and more satisfaction with their college experience. I can spend all night talking about the research that has proved the benefits of fraternity membership, but I know you don't necessarily want to hear that. I believe what you want to know is, why should I spend money every semester to pay to be a part of something when there are a lot of free or more affordable opportunities? Let me say this to you. Ask almost anyone in a fraternity if their membership is worth it, and they will tell you absolutely 100% yes. Ask those same members if they always wanted to join a fraternity, and most of them will actually say no, I didn't. I was super involved in college and did almost everything but join a fraternity until the end of my junior year. The way fraternity challenges us to be the best version of ourselves goes beyond what I learned, goes beyond my experience being an athlete, being in several clubs, being an orientation leader, working in residence life. There is a reason many men join the Masons or other brotherhood organizations after college. Fraternity, brotherhood, and being able to be a part of something bigger than oneself is an amazing experience and can be lifelong if you commit to it, like I and many others have. So why fraternity? I've shared a few reasons on this screen. If you talk to fraternity men, you might hear about brotherhood a lot, and it's hard to understand what brotherhood is when you're not a part of it. But at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is lifelong friendships. So why fraternity? The connections and the networking that happen within a fraternity are massive. I already mentioned previously of the number of men and women that are in the fraternity and sorority community across the country. Many studies show the increased sense of belonging. The number one reason why students transfer or drop out of school is typically not because of finances, is typically not because they don't like the school. More so than not, it's because of their sense of belonging at the institution. And fraternity helps keep students engaged and involved on campus, persisting from their freshman to the sophomore year and to graduation. Fraternity is about building resume. There are so many opportunities that our men in our fraternities get to be involved in and teach them skills to be able to transfer that to what they're going to be doing professionally. Volunteering in the community. Yes, plenty of you can say that I can volunteer in the community without having to join a fraternity. But how often do we say things like that, but then don't follow through? Being a part of a brotherhood, an IFC fraternity, will give you the opportunity and the experience to be able to do programs throughout the year to serve the community, whether it be beach cleanups, road cleanups, soup kitchens, collecting clothes for the homeless, and working with various charities and organizations around the Atlantic City area. There are plenty of opportunities when it comes to fraternity engagement. Balancing academic and social activities, something our fraternity men do incredibly well. There's a lot of stereotypes out there about fraternities. All they do is party. But as I mentioned earlier, our fraternity men in the IFC have a 3.13 GPA. They do a very good job of balancing those academic and social activities. I mentioned lifelong friendships. Some of my best friends in life are in my fraternity. A lot of them are not even actually from my chapter that I knew as an undergrad. As I continue my membership in my fraternity, a lot of my friends are from other institutions. A lot of my friends are older than me or even younger than me. And that's what brotherhood is about. It goes beyond our 4 years in college. And what fraternity really does is challenge yourself, challenges you to be the best version of yourself. I know that the men that are joining me on this call tonight, that are representing the undergraduate and alumni population of our fraternity community, and any fraternity man that I would bring onto this call or have conversation with would talk about how fraternity challenged them and made them a better version of themselves. So why fraternity? What is our purpose? Why do fraternities exist? Why should I pay membership costs to be in one? Right? Fraternity dues offset the cost of brotherhood events, intramurals, philanthropic activities, training and conferences, social events, among many other organizational operating costs like insurance and paying towards national staffing. The friendships are free. So when I hear folks asking about paying for their friends, that's my response. It's such a great opportunity. So let's meet a few of our members and alumni that I've invited here tonight. So I'm going to invite a few people up here. I would like to introduce you to some of our guests. In the order on the screen, I would like for each guest to introduce themselves. Alumni, please share your occupation or what you're doing right now. And of course, everyone share the organization that you're a member of. So let's start with Cooper. Welcome, Cooper.
What's up, Joe? Hey, everyone. My name is Cooper. I'm the Vice President of Sigma Alpha Epsilon and the IFC President here at Stockton.
What's up, guys? My name is Quinn Daniel. I'm a health science major here at Stockton. This is my senior year. I am one of the vice presidents of Kappa Sigma, technically the Grand Master of Ceremonies. So I'm in charge of ritual and recruitment and things like that. I'm also the vice president of the IFC in the recruitment position.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Isola. I am a former IFC president, former president of Kappa Sigma, and current alumni advisor for Kappa Sigma. In my daytime, when I'm not doing fraternity stuff with Stockton, I am an attorney in New Brunswick.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Matt Nagel. I was the president of Sigma Alpha Epsilon, so I'm a member of Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Graduated from Stockton in 2017. Professionally, I'm currently a detective for a Burlington County Police Department, specifically West Hampton Township Police Department. I held a lot of positions in SAE, but I also was formerly the vice president of recruitment for the IFC as well.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Jelani Gandy. I'm a part of the Phi Delta Beta fraternity there at Stockton University. I was our chapter's founding father president, served in some roles in the IFC. During my time as an undergrad, I graduated in 2021. And since I've graduated, I've been involved in a lot of community involvement and still to this day, engagement.
Thank you, gentlemen. So I have a few questions that I'd like to ask that I think our audience and the men on campus would be interested to hear about fraternity and how it relates to your involvement, either as an alumnus or reflecting on your undergraduate experience, and for those that are still undergrads, your undergraduate experience. So anyone can answer any of these questions. Just jump in, we'll take turns. But for the alumni in particular, what has your fraternity involvement done to prepare you professionally for your career?
I can kick this one off. So it really helped me in every aspect. And no matter what career field you may go into, I was a criminal justice major. I ended up in a law enforcement role, but I've had positions in business, and I still have basically side businesses and things like that. So really what sticks out to me so much is my management skills, and by taking positions in my fraternity really helped those, especially being a chapter president of SAE. Honestly, I revert back to all the time, and a lot of people I work with may not have been in fraternity life, but those who have will understand what I'm saying, is that my ability in leadership and management is just incredible. And whenever there's a scenario I've had, whether I'm managing a team or I'm still in a team role, but just my ability to navigate teamwork and go through everything, it feels like second nature. And I can always relate it to a circumstance that happened when I was in the fraternity. And that experience that I got as in management of the fraternity was actually better than most experiences I had in my minor professional roles leading up to my career now. And I revert back to that experience all the time. And I never knew I would actually gain so much confidence in like my management abilities, that I was once in president of a chapter that was pushing 80 guys. And now I'm in a police department that might have about 26 members total. And it's almost easy for me to navigate my small roles and to have multiple hats. I'm a community policing officer. I do a bias incident coordinator, juvenile officer. I'm a recruitment chairman of my unit as well. I even start other units and started the recruitment unit because I'm very passionate about recruitment. But being in the executive board of a fraternity and even a president, and already understanding committees and membership and getting people and their potential to come together as a team, it's like second nature to me now, and it's benefited me so much so early in my career, and I can only imagine how it's going to help me going forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I totally agree with Matt. Just to pick up where he left off at the end, because I really liked one of the point. I'm sure I know Matt's a really great leader even before he got into fraternity. But one of the reasons Matt's involved in all those things is because when you become a part of a fraternity, you want to make those things better. You want to become involved. You want to participate. So just being in fraternity helps you after, because when you get into your profession, whether it's a police department or a business or a school, you're going to be an active member of that, and that's going to benefit you and your organization by doing so. And a lot of that activity is going to be based on the fact that when you were in fraternity, you guys did stuff. I mean, maybe you were on the social committee, maybe you were on the rush committee, maybe you were in the historical whatever committee, and you're taking pictures, and it's just any little role you have in the fraternity gets you ready for taking on roles when you get into the real life. And when you're in real life, companies and businesses and people you work with and business partners, all those people like people who are proactive and get things done and are leaders. No one wants to work for people who don't want to do things, who are unwilling to do things, who can't be in teams. So being in fraternity is a great thing about that. The lifelong friendships do help with networking for sure. To Today, in fact, I was talking to a brother who graduated about, I think, 2 years ago. He was an undergrad when, I think when I was graduating. And he's trying to start law school, and I'm getting his foot in the door at a place so that he could start that path. And he's not even an undergrad, he's an alumni. He called me, and those kind of connections last forever. And I'm willing to help that person because it's not like we were best friends when we were in the fraternity. I think he was pledging when I graduated, but he's a brother and I respect him for that. And, you know, I'm going to help him out because that's what we do. Same thing with people in other groups. If Matt ever called me and was like, hey, someone I know was trying to do this thing, I would absolutely help him. And same thing the other way. It happens all the time. So that kind of stuff's great. The other thing is when you're in fraternity and you're doing stuff with 40, 50, 60 guys, things go wrong and you have adversity. And the way to get better at things is by facing adversities and getting through difficult times and having a support group to get through tough times with, so that when you have to get through tough times later, you've done it. So yeah, I think it's great for a professional.
Yeah, pretty much what everybody, the guys just said. I'm not familiar with you two personally, but I know in my professional life and life after college, you know, I can kind of relate to the same exact kind of things that you guys are talking about. The leadership qualities that I gained, the ability to communicate with others, you know, just certain skill sets that are just so basic that were sharpened from, you know, meeting other people or going to certain events that Joe Thompson, you know, hosted at the school. I know one thing that I personally have gained and that has prepared me for my life professionally has been the ability just to talk to people in general. I remember when we first started out with Phi Delta Beta, we were all freshmen and none of us wanted to talk to anybody because, you know, we're just a bunch of freshman guys. But, you know, by having practice, by having members in our fraternity that were more of a go-getter, were more of a outsider person, be able to teach us how to talk to others and engage with other people, that allowed me and so many other more people who came in, you know, as freshmen, not being able to talk to other people and then being able to graduate and hold a conversation with a random person and be able to lead the conversation with knowing more about them than you do with, you know, some people that you face day to day. It's helped me personally, just by being able to, like I said, communicate and being a leader. This past fall, I ran for county commissioner for Atlantic County, where Stockton actually is. And I think that I definitely was able to use my skills from, you know, being a leader, from being able to talk, to being able to convey my ideas while I was campaigning. It's, you know, it involves pretty much what you would expect someone in a campaign to do, talking to people, whether it's on the phone or, you know, at their door. But every single time I would talk to somebody, I would just think about the skill sets that I learned, the skill sets that I practiced from doing the Meet the Greek nights in the campus center event room. You know, you're standing there with a whole bunch of guys and, you know, you have a table, the fraternity things are on the table, and you're going to meet random people, talk about whatever, and you want them to join your fraternity. So for me, I was able to kind of flip that and go into people's doors and, you know, having them and talk to them and to explain to them why they should join my team. You know, so I think that being a part of the Phi Delta Beta and just being a part of an IFC fraternity at Stockton University really helped me to prepare for my life professionally. And even today, I had a job interview and I was, you know, talking about how the skills that I obtained from being a part of Phi Delta Beta helped me, or would help me, and prepared me to meet the challenges of the job that I was interviewing for today.
Thank you for sharing. So why do you think the fraternity, right? Joining a fraternity is more relevant than ever since this pandemic started, right? We spent the past 2 years kind of in this awkward, you know, standstill of life, trying to continue on with what we're doing. But I think we're not seeing people as much face to face, so students aren't as engaged, and I think campus is not as lively as it used to be. And I know personally I'm waiting for campus life to come back. So why do you think fraternity is more relevant than ever since this pandemic started? Why should men join now?
I can take that one. I mean, me and Quinn have seen both sides of it. We got in and then we had our time, where it was normal operations. And then we also got to experience the side of it where COVID struck and it was a little different. So I think now coming back to normalcy or whatever that may be, having the opportunity to be able to make new connections on campus when you're coming to a college and you have really no idea where you want to be in life or what you want to head to. You're still searching for your end goal. You're still trying to meet new people. I think it's a great way to network yourself, to get to meet plenty more people. And then there's more resources once you join to meet even more people.
Yeah, personally, I think that now is the perfect time to join a fraternity because now you are going back to getting the full experience of it. When we were on lockdown, kind of like everybody, we weren't really doing anything. People were going on unemployment, staying in their house, kind of not really talking to their friends. And for some people, that caused a really big mental health issue. I know I struggled with it. I hated staying inside all day, not being able to go out with my brothers, have those conversations that we crave on a daily basis. So just coming out of this pandemic now, when we see it starting to get a little bit better, I think it's the perfect time because one, you're going to be joining classes of 20 to 30 kids, whether you be a freshman or a junior. You're going to be able to network with other fraternities, sororities, just on a weekly basis, having chapters in person, being able to go to career fairs with your brothers, socials with other organizations. It's the perfect time because now you're actually getting that full experience of it.
Yeah, basically what everyone's been saying, with how much the world has changed and, we're going virtual, the shutdowns. I think now more than ever, guys have to be more in touch with guys in a brotherhood level. During my time at Stockton, I spent, I guess, the first 2 years, normal, everything was great. And then the last 2 years, my junior year and my senior year, were the COVID years. And I feel like when I first joined, I joined, I guess that would be 2018. So from 2018 to my junior year, which was, I guess, beginning of 2020 or the end of 2019, rather, I feel like the fraternity world was kind of changing. I remember the first event that I went to for the national fraternity was in Missouri. And the first thing we heard about was how a member, unfortunately, of our fraternity passed away due to a event that happened in our fraternity. But I say that because, the idea of a fraternity was kind of changing and people were starting to more wake up to what's going on in fraternity and how to fix it. And, a lot of progress was made after that. And I feel like once COVID came, the idea of being a part of a brotherhood kind of really stuck out more than ever. The idea of being able to talk to people, have those conversations, like you mentioned, that, we need to have with each other, those healthy conversations, and also just being able to just be around other people. So many people now are, on their phones all day, they're in class or online, and so many things that we do today are just online. And, I think that it's unfortunate that a lot of people didn't experience the experience that we had prior to COVID, where our rush events weren't online, or rush events were going to get wings or play basketball or whatever else. And now many of them have transitioned to be online and also in person. But I think that now it kind of is rebuilding the idea of the fraternity, what it means to be a part of the fraternity. And I think that, like I mentioned, a lot of people are just adapting to what's going on. And I think that, being a part of a group of people, being a part of a brotherhood allows you to be yourself and sharpen up on your skills.
Thank you. Yeah, me personally, I think there's a lot of folks who have been hesitant to want to join a fraternity during the pandemic because they feel like they're not going to get, their money's worth in a way, right? They're not going to be able to do a lot of activities in person. Well, one, that's changing this semester. We're going to be full in person still this semester. So this first year class that came in the fall will be able to experience recruitment and all the brotherhood activities that are typically in person. We are full in person for the time being. I don't think that's going to change. So that's exciting there. But I do think back to the past couple of years, and my relationships actually grew with a lot of people, because as we had this like sense of impending doom and loneliness and not being able to see a lot of people face to face, I spent a lot of time having Zoom hangouts with friends and doing stuff like that. And it actually connected me with people in a stronger way than I might have had in person, because we are so busy all the time in our life. And Zoom, actually becoming used to Zoom actually was really helpful. So let me ask this next question, right? So a lot of students might think that, why should I join a fraternity when there's so many other opportunities on campus? So what makes a fraternity different than being in a student club or intramurals or an athletic team?
I can take this one real quick. I think it's all about the connections you make when you join a fraternity. I could speak off of basically this past weekend, me and 3 other of our members went down to DC for an executives academy with our nationals. And I got to meet people around the country. And I think that's what it's about. You get to meet more than just the people within your local chapters, and joining other organizations that aren't fraternities or, a part of Greek life. You might not get that opportunity necessarily. So when I went this past weekend, there was 200, almost 300 other brothers of my chapter, of my fraternity, that were there. They were, trying to accomplish the same goal, trying to do the same things as us. We're trying to, get somewhere. And, you get to meet those people and make those connections along the way. And I think that's what makes it important and special. It's not just the people here at your local chapters, it's people all around the world. And I think that's something that's really cool and neat.
Yeah, so I think it is the aspect of being in a fraternity is kind of a bunch of clubs, opportunities, and almost even being in a sports team all rolled into one plus more. For example, just going on the comparison to clubs, you're going to make a lot more memories in a fraternity than you would in a club. That's just kind of how it goes. A club, as someone who is in 5 or 6 of them right now, you do gain a lot of experience from that. But that's something where you only meet really like once or twice a week, maybe every other week. And sure, that helps you, depending on what type of club it is, with academics or, having a good time. But it really just, like I said, it's kind of like a once a week type thing. You're not really making those lifelong friends that you would in a fraternity. In a fraternity, you do gain an aspect of business and management. You're going to learn things that you would never learn joining a club or being on a sports team, because you're involved in a chapter of 20 to 60 brothers, sometimes of people with backgrounds that you would have never normally hung out with when you were in high school, or if you didn't join a fraternity at all, of different cultures. And then just things you do on a weekly basis, from having chapter meetings to learning how to manage a group of 50 plus brothers, to intramurals, to networking opportunities. You're just, like Coop said, you're going to meet a bunch of people that you would just never have the opportunity to if you just stuck with a sports team or a club. And you never know, one of those people might be the person who opens a door into your future for you.
Yeah, and I'd add from an alumni standpoint, being in fraternity, sorority life is just so different than a club or even a sports team. And I'll agree that a sports team is a little bit closer because you are putting in all those hours and stuff together. But to be honest, I went to Stockton the same time. My cousin went to Stockton. He played sports. I was the president of Kappa Sigma. We tried to, he considered joining a few times. A few of his teammates were brothers, and it was just, he wasn't going to do it. He was doing other stuff. I was doing this. And he has, his 3 or 4 real close friends from playing. And when he sees other people, they're one alumni event a year at Stockton. It's great. But the relationship I have with so many more people and the opportunities I have from that and the networking, all that stuff is so much greater in fraternity world. Not only just because of the nature of fraternity, but because it's set up to do that, it's actually an organization. A sports team is great, and I'm sure everyone played high school sports, and sports is about memories and stuff, but fraternities are built at a national level, and they're just an organizational thing where there's a bond that goes further than playing together on a season. When you play a team, it's about that season. It's about the squad you played with. It's not necessarily about the 250 years of being in Kappa Sigma, or I started this event when I was a first year in, and now it's a $30,000 event 10 years later. That kind of stuff just doesn't exist. And I would say that the networking opportunity job-wise don't exist because, well, not that they don't exist, but in fraternity world, it's designed to do that. We're there for life. It's purposefully there for life. There's also, as you guys might know, ritual normally involved in fraternity life, and that type of bond is also very special. And to go back to the last point, Joe, if I may, about COVID and stuff, college is very short. You've already missed however much time you have missed. It's not something that's wrong or anything wrong. It's all positive. You had a good experience, but you should capitalize on your experience now. This should be your opportunity to say, hey, this is something I want to do. I want to try. And the worst case that comes in, you come out this spring, you try one of the 7 quality fraternity group. I think there's 7. I hope I didn't miss a group. And you pledge. And if it's not your thing, it's not your thing, but I'm telling you, if you go, it's going to be worth your while.
Thanks,
Real
Joe.
To add on that though, things happened in my fraternity that when I joined SAE, I did not ever expect as far as the scope of things. How Joe said, was national and a lifetime pretty much. I know our fraternity was founded in the 1800s like many others, so it goes back a long time for tradition and all. But when I joined, we were at a colony on campus, maybe 20 guys. So to grow into what we became and are becoming was very cool. But nationally, I was able to actually be on a team of ambassadors, 12 guys that was comprised of guys from all over the nation. And I actually traveled because of the fraternity. At the time, I know SAE's got rid of it, but our leadership academy was on a cruise ship out of Miami for a couple of years, which was interesting and weird, really. I know that's gone now, but I was sent to that for a few years, and then I managed that. I was a part of the 800 guys that went onto this leadership academy, and I was a part of the educational facilities and the curriculum and things like that. But also, I got to travel to Chicago for our president's leadership academy, and that really opened my eyes to, okay, I knew 20 guys that I joined on a small school in the relatively for schools that are out there in the United States and the world. Stockton's pretty small in comparison. And now I was meeting guys from UCLA, and those relationships actually were awesome. And I even went on road trips and things like that after these academies, and I stayed at the Harvard SAE house just because of guys I met in Chicago, and it became this whole national experience where I would travel and be like, oh, there's an SAE chapter here, reach out to them, meet a guy there, and I had this whole national network now that I never thought of when I first joined, that now is such a thing that I look back on as such an awesome opportunity. And I know that I always have people I can reach out to all around. And Joe mentioned something in the very beginning about how it all ties into networking, about how he would help me as far as networking professionally if he had the opportunity, and I would help him. One of the past presidents, when I was looking at Greek life, that was Kappa Sigma president, his name was Mike, just recently tried to help me with career advice and things like that, because he's somewhat in my field. And those bonds through the IFC and these Greek life groups, they're not only your chapter, but the chapters you meet along the way. Like it's Greek life, it really helps you tie that all together, whether it's your chapter or the next. It's really just an awesome opportunity, but on not just a small scale, but a national scale that clubs don't include as much as fraternities. And like Quinn said, it all is kind of rolled together, because I know when I was in SA, we also had an intramural team for almost every sport. And it was actually a requirement of SA at the time that you were involved in a club outside SA as well. So it kind of pushed you to do things outside that, but nothing could compare really to the opportunities that Greek life provides.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. Yeah, my next question was actually going to be about networking, but I think all of you have pretty much answered that. I will give you the opportunity if anybody has another cool networking story, but I will, first say that I'm glad Matt mentioned that networking is not just among your own organization, right? You might meet members from chapters across the whole country, but it's other fraternity men and other organizations, and sorority women and other folks that you meet along the way that you build relationships with. Some of my best friends I've met through the fraternity experience are in other organizations. I'm a member of Phi Mu Delta, but I have friends that are in tons of other fraternities and sororities. But we've become this part of this one big community, right? And whether it be networking socially or professionally, there's a lot of relationships that you build. Does anybody have any other networking stories before I move on? To give everybody an opportunity.
Just to expand one more time, it goes past the fraternity, the IFC, it goes over to the sororities as well. And all those connections are theirs too. There's been plenty of times where I've hit up a friend from a sorority, or who might have turned into a friend's wife, or a friend's husband with some of the fraternity guys. And that connection's totally there too. The things you do with those organizations when you guys are working together, building events and just bonding through other type of stuff, it goes that far too, and it's special.
All right, thank you. So the last question I'm going to ask you all is if you could give one piece of advice to anyone who's watching tonight, who's considering joining, right? What would that piece of advice be?
I would just say to find your fit. There's 9 great groups on campus here. Every single one of them is different. Every single one of them has their own, way about going the way, the things they do. Find your fit. Get to know everyone. There's not one perfect group, but we are ourselves. We're the way we are. So find whatever makes you feel comfortable and where you can find a home for the next 4 years.
Yeah, going on top of what Joe said, just kind of taking advantage of the situation and capitalizing. College, really, before grad school, you get a job, is like, I feel, your last chance to act like a kid again before, life gets real and you get a job and you need to focus on big boy problems. And even as we focus on them in college, it really is your last opportunity. Just really take advantage of a lot of free time that you do have before the real world hits. So even if you just have a 1% inkling of going out, and even if you really don't think you'll like it, just dive in, take the shot, go to meet the Greeks, just try to meet some friends, because I guarantee if you stick with it, it'll be worth your while.
I would say the number one thing is grab a friend and go. I didn't really want to do it. You're going to hear that a lot, but I really didn't want to do it. My roommate didn't really want to do it either, but he got conned by some person to come to something, and he dragged me with him, because you don't want to go to events alone, because that's awkward. And it's a weird thing when you're going out for recruitment, because you're meeting people you don't know, and it's weird, and that's okay. Come back the second day, or go to a different group the second day, or try a different group the third day. Just go to a few of the events and talk to one person. Just one person, and then you can go in the corner by yourself with your friend, or leave, but just give it a chance.
Yeah, I would say get everything you can out of your 4 years while it's at Stockton University, and get as much as you can out of your time with your fraternity as well. I feel like there were so many things that I did at Stockton University, and there's so many things that I wish I would have done more. Go to every single event that your fraternity holds, whether it's a service event, whether it's a event on campus, some kind of event like a talent show or whatever. But going to the date nights, the formals, just having those memories are pretty much everything. I graduated now, and the other guys are also graduated now, and we look back at the pictures and we just think like, man, to go back to this day, blah blah blah, many years ago. But also just being just be an active member of your fraternity. There's so many things and areas where you can get involved in. There's so many things that you can make an improvement within your fraternity as well, or even being a part of the IFC itself as well. I know that a lot of people, they join the fraternity and they feel like they might, see something that's not going the right way, or they might think that, they have a better idea of doing things. Make your voice heard, because at the end of the day, for example, if you are a part of a fraternity and you see, bad habits and whatever, you sticking up, standing up, being able to, say, let's stop doing this and let's do something else, that could get the ball rolling to, prevent a disaster that could happen within your fraternity that could, change everything, could ruin everything, and could take away from those privileges that you enjoy as a fraternity man at Stockton University. So, stay involved, be an active member, and just know that, you have so much impact within your fraternity that could, change, a community or a city or whatever, but stay involved.
Anyone else? I'll share my quick story. The old guy speak. I graduated college in 2008, so it's been a few years. Not that old, I guess, but I think, like Joe said, I never wanted to join a fraternity. It was the last thing on my mind. I was super involved in other things on campus. I was on the ice hockey team. I was an orientation leader. I had a few campus jobs. I did all kinds of stuff. I always was on intramural teams. So I didn't feel like I needed to join a fraternity. And I had the attitude of, why am I going to spend money to be part of a group? I've got enough friends. Like, if I want to do X, Y, and Z, I could figure it out on my own. But it ended up, right, I had one person pull me to a meeting and said, just give it a chance. And I said, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes of my time. And I'm now sitting here as a fraternity and sorority advisor, right? So it's the last thing that I ever thought that I would be doing. But here I am today. So it's clearly made enough of an impact on me that this is something that I do for a living, and be a part of trying to get more men to have this same positive experience that I think all of us that are on your screen have had. That's why we're here talking to you, because we want to give that opportunity to as many people as possible. So if you ever have any questions, there's plenty of people that you can talk to as well. So I'm going to pull up on my screen ways for you to get informed about fraternity and sorority life, particularly the IFC. So here's the IFC's website. If you go to the Stockton website and just search for Interfraternity Council or search for IFC, the page will come up, but this is the link right here. You will find most information on our Instagram account. So if you use Instagram, follow the IFC at Stockton_IFC. And you can learn more about fraternity life in general at myfraternitylife.org. So I highly recommend you check out those resources, follow us. When you go to the IFC page, you can register. There's no obligation if you register for IFC recruitment that you need to attend specific things or you need to join a fraternity. The only thing you're doing by registering online is giving us your name and your information. So that way we can send you a calendar of all the upcoming IFC recruitment events. We can get you more information. If you opt out, and tell me you don't want any more, you don't want to receive emails, then that's fine too. So again, there's no obligation, but we really hope that you take the opportunity to learn more and give fraternity a chance. So I want to thank my guests for attending tonight. I know on behalf of the IFC, our IFC president and vice president of recruitment that joined us on this call tonight, and then our three wonderful alumni representatives. I thank you for attending tonight and taking time out of your day. Guys, these guys will not be taking time out of their night from 9 to 10 o'clock at night to be talking to you when they all graduated. And, if this did not mean something to them, right? So give it a chance, get involved, learn more. And we thank you for watching tonight's program. So everybody have a wonderful evening and take care.